We will call this meeting to order at 6:51. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Evans.
Present.
Hurt.
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
Swanson.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Poulos.
Here.
Healy. Mayor Tomes. Mayor Harris, I'm so sorry. Little Freudian slip.
There you go. That is one for the books. It is.
Okay, so 5 ILCS 127C allows remote attendance if there is a majority of the public body physically present. Alderman Healy is out of town on business, so he would qualify. So we would need a voice vote to allow him in remotely.
Move to approve Alderman Healy remote access.
Roll call, please. Oh, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Alderman Healy, can you hear us?
Item 3, Pledge of Allegiance. After that, please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 5, public comments.
Thank you. Here's what's at stake if this ill-advised TIF in the truck stop, car wash, and pot shop that it financially supports are developed in Milin Bottoms. The most biologically rich natural area remaining in the Quad City region will be irreversibly damaged by the catastrophic and inevitable contamination of the wetlands and waterways here due to runoff, leaks, and spills. This will severely impact an incredibly diverse wildlife community that contains 177 species that we know of so far of amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, including at least 9 federal or state-listed threatened or endangered species that have been recorded here. The habitability of this site to unknown numbers of plant and invertebrate species will also be threatened, as will the largest documented bald eagle night roost in the lower 48 states. Remember, this is a habitat type that's vital to the very survival of wintering eagles in the Midwest region, and at this particular site, the night roost will be severely damaged and most likely largely abandoned by the ongoing disturbance of the development. After nearly 8 months of opposing this environmentally devastating plan, the unethical nature and dishonesty of this city council, its representatives, and their partner developers, Matt Stern and Jeff Eubanks, has been on clear display for everyone to see. Here's just a few of the many examples of the dishonesty. First, throughout this process, several representatives from the city have stated that it's just my opinion that the development will negatively impact night roosting eagles. Okay. I've been involved in 14 different bald eagle research and monitoring projects over my career, including my master's thesis research. Therefore, my opinion is backed up by scientific research experience. By comparison, not one person representing this city or the developers has spent as much as 1 hour of their lives working with these birds. So I ask again, whose opinion is likely to be more accurate? Miles Brainerd claimed that the city's eagle studies indicated there would be no impact to the birds. This was an outright lie because the city hasn't actually conducted any eagle studies. Next, Miles challenged me to produce another eagle researcher to corroborate my assessment of the impacts to the night roost. I produced 3 additional researchers. Between the 4 of us, we have 150 plus years of research experience. The city said they would reach out to the other 3 researchers for their assessments. Again, this was a lie. To date, the city has not contacted any of the other 3 researchers for their input. Furthermore, after 8 months, the city has failed to produce a single eagle researcher to refute our views. The city's dishonesty regarding the impact of this development on night roosting bald eagles is absolutely shameful. Second, the city claims they can negate the negative impacts of the development on the night roost. Did you catch that? First, they claim there will be no negative impacts. Then they claim they can fix the negative impacts. Their dishonesty aside, our night roost research has already proven that the mitigation measures that they constantly refer to do not work. They've already been tried by the casino, and we still documented a negative impact to the night roosting birds. Third, the city continues to corruptly claim they've done their due diligence regarding the impact of this development on Milin Bottoms by referring to the totally worthless Shive Hattery environmental assessment. Now, this, if you remember, is the assessment that claimed there were no threatened or endangered species at Milin Bottoms. We've documented 9 so far. This was the assessment that never mentions the word bald eagle once in the entire document, despite the fact that the largest known night roost is immediately adjacent to the proposed development site. The environmental assessment was based on no actual surveys, no monitoring effort, and 0 site visits. Fourth, Alderperson Parker constantly insists on deferring to the DNR and the Fish and Wildlife Service when it comes to the wildlife and T&E species occurring in Milin Bottoms. Yet neither of these agencies have done any research, no surveys, no monitoring of any kind to document the species that are there. So Dylan, exactly what are you deferring to? Outdated and inaccurate databases? If you don't put forth any effort to document T&E species, it's guaranteed you won't find any. But then again, maybe that's the point. This is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the dishonesty, corruption, and total lack of concern for the environment that's been exhibited by the city and the developers throughout this entire process. Once the largest bald eagle night roost has been decimated and the wildness and wildlife of Milin Bottoms is just a memory, there will be only 15 people who are wholly to blame for this ecological tragedy. The developers, of course, Matt Stern and Jeff Eubanks, their advocate, Mike Tomes, and nearly every alderperson on this and the previous city council, along with Todd Thompson, Tanner Osing, Tom Flaherty, and Miles Brainerd. I believe this level of dishonesty and corruption warrants a special place in hell for each one of you.
Ryan Schwartz.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ryan Schmitz. I am one of the 3 eagle experts that Kelly mentioned. I'm from Southwest Wisconsin. I've been studying bald and golden eagles now for 23 years. And also did my master's research with bald eagles. I just kind of want to piggyback off what Kelly was saying with a couple additional points. One regarding the Terracon environmental study, and the other having to do with the conservation easement. First, the city claims that a TIF is necessary in order to establish a conservation easement. This is untrue. Every acre they own, including the proposed development site, could be put into an easement without establishing a TIF, period. The second point is the Terracon studies. They are absolutely worthless, and here's why. Their bald eagle study was conducted in 1 day, on May 6th of this year. 1 day. Kelly, and including myself, we spent 6 years studying that roost. I've personally studied the roost in Southwest Wisconsin for 16 years. 1 day is when the study was conducted. They didn't mention any of the 5 active eagle nests located in close proximity to the development site. There's 5 eagle nests. They claim the night roost has not been used in 2 years. Not by a single eagle in 2 years. They fail to explain how they can determine night roost usage over the last 2 years based on a single day visit. I'm not sure how they did that. The time of year when eagles do utilize night roosts is in the winter. This was not performed in the winter months. Furthermore, they didn't even mention the methodology used to assess the night roost. There's so many flaws with this environmental, quote, study. During the Blandings turtle study, they surveyed 1 wetland containing appropriate habitat for this species. The many other wetlands adjacent to the development site contain appropriate habitat were simply ignored. So one possible location that they studied when there's others around. During their extremely short study period, they apparently found no Blandings turtles. Kelly McKay found 3 in 124 hours of effort. However, what really makes her studies completely worthless is that Matt Stern admitted to buying the results that he wanted from Terracon. Thank you.
Lisa Stender.
Hi, I do not have an education to throw at you, but as a taxpayer in your lovely town, I have a whole lot of anger to throw at you. As a taxpayer, seeing you use my tax dollars in this way is very upsetting. Up and down the river, they celebrate what the river brings to them and what nature, we can see. And they're making money off of nature and having the eagles come to our area. Why can't we do something along that line? Follow the other examples that they're doing all up and down the river. I mean, creating something for one man.
Joyce Singh.
Hello, thank you for listening. My name is Joyce Singh, and I'm from LeClaire, Iowa. A couple of clear points. I am in opposition to any sort of development of the wetland area or any land adjacent to it, the wetland area that would affect the wetland area and the beautiful biodiversity there. This is a jewel. I often compare this to being a jewel in our pocket that we don't yet know, we haven't yet observed, and we go through life like poor people, not recognizing what's right there. So I am opposed to any sort of development of the 10 acres or anything in the TIF. I don't think, well, I know the TIF is not necessary for protecting the wetlands. It's not necessary. The city can put the land in, and I know that that's something that will be talked about this evening, but we can protect those wetland areas without development. That's what I would support. I have a question. I have many questions, and I think that not everyone up here, I don't think all of you have all the answers. I don't have answers either, but I do have questions. I see that Alderman Healy's not here, and I've always wondered why he hasn't recused himself, because he is co-owner of the Stern Center. And I've never heard him recuse himself. I'm very confused by that, because I know the Stern Center was developed using TIF money, and then sold by Stern to Healy, who is a co-owner. But I've never heard him say, this is not what I should be voting on, because it seems like he has conflict there of interests. So that's one question I've always had. I want to say that the gas station, you call it now, truck stop, I'll explain an experience I had. There's a new gas station out by where I live, and I go there frequently. I went there during the winter time. I have a VW that I use sometimes that uses diesel. It's Gulf VW, supposed to get good gas mileage, but I went to get gas there in the winter time, a new gas station. And I put the handle in my pump, and I saw trickling there. And where the handle is, I released the trigger, and it was dripping. And I ran into the gas station, and I went to the front of the line, and I said, something's wrong. I see leaking happening here. I don't know what it is. And I went back out, and it was coming down fast, and it was pouring. I took the thing out of my, gas fuel thing, and it pushed off at extreme pressure, and thank God it wasn't in my face. Diesel was pouring out. They ran out, and there's a lever. So anyone, when this happens to you, they said it's not uncommon. There's a lever outside the gas station that we're supposed to be aware of, but the regular consumer's not, to turn off all the tanks. They had to turn off all the tanks. This happening in a wetland area is devastating. Yeah, you have catchments, but this stuff happens. You will be contaminating a wetland area. It is bound to happen. The other thing I wanted to say is I find it kind of ironic that there are 2 centers in Rock Island that has the name of people. One is the Stern Center, and I'm not opposed to development in the inner city. I don't live here, but I do come here. I have family members who have lived here. I loved Rock Island. I have memories of Rock Island. There are 2 centers. One is the Stern Center, and one is the Martin Luther King Center. Those are the 2 centers with names. I would rather focus energy and attention on the Martin Luther King Center on the West End. And I did attend the Rejuvenate West End, a tour that was given. And Martin Luther King Jr. talked about a beloved community. I'd like to say a wetland is the more than human community that is a connection with the human community. It's not a resource to be traded, bought, spent, used, no more than I am as a human being, as a body. Do not spend me, use me, abuse me. This wetland is a living organism. But that West End, what I heard is they talked about their access to the river there, and their Sunset Park is right there. But the people there do not have access because they cannot cross that highway. A lot of people there cannot drive. They do not access. You want to put money toward the development of an area, that park that is already here? Put it West End, Sunset Park, and make access there. But leave the wetlands that are untouched, leave them alone. They are amazing, diverse ecologies. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Christy Adamson.
Good evening. My name is Christy Adamson. I live in downtown Rock Island with my husband Patrick and our daughter Claire, and I've called this city home for 20 years. I'm also the founder of the Third Place QC, a new daytime drop-in center for people experiencing homelessness, set to open downtown on October 1st. I'm speaking tonight not just as a nonprofit leader, but as a neighbor, a taxpayer, and a citizen. I'm here to express my unequivocal opposition to the proposed moratorium on homeless services, regardless of it being 4 months. This resolution, while framed as a pause for planning, sends a chilling message that people in crisis are a liability that can be delayed, not neighbors to be supported. And I want to be clear with all of you tonight, despite months of transparent communication, I was not notified of this vote by anyone I've spoken to at the city. We've met with both the outgoing and current mayor, our alderman, the fire marshal, the assistant to the city manager, the executive director of the Downtown Alliance, and numerous community partners. We've answered questions and listened to concerns. To learn of this vote secondhand through another nonprofit is not just disappointing. It's a breach of transparency, and it erodes your public trust. For a body tasked with representing the public interest, failing to engage those most directly affected by your decisions is not just an oversight. It is a failure of your leadership. This moratorium disproportionately targets the most vulnerable among us and halts the development of spaces that offer safety and stability. These are our neighbors. Blocking services for them is not a neutral policy. It is discriminatory harm. And it's happening at a time when homelessness is surging. In 2024, the U.S. saw the largest single increase in homelessness ever recorded, up 18%. Rock Island County is not immune. We're seeing more families sleeping in vehicles, more encampments, and more people pushed out of public spaces with nowhere to go. Concerns about public safety and neighborhood impact are valid, but they should compel us toward more effective, compassionate solutions, not policies that block the very organizations trying to fill the gaps. Voting to halt services like shelters and drop-in centers doesn't solve the problem, it just deepens it. I believe Rock Island stands at a crossroads. The question isn't whether we will see more visible homelessness in the years to come, it's how we as a community will choose to respond to it. You cannot vote this reality away. You can block every nonprofit from opening in this city, and the need in front of you will still grow. The only choice before us is whether we choose to meet that need with courage and compassion or with avoidance and cruelty. I urge you to reject this moratorium and instead commit to collaborative planning with service providers, residents, and those experiencing homelessness in Rock Island. Give your citizens something to be proud of. Make this city a place where we don't treat people as problems to be solved, but welcome them as part of our shared community. That's the Rock Island I want to live in. Thank you.
Kristen. Thank you, ma'am. Kristen Koski.
Hello, my name is Kristen Koski, and I'm a Rock Island resident. Just for 10 years, I've chosen to live in this city, and I'm also the board chair of this beautiful organization called the Third Place QC. I've brought my daughter Quinn here, a public school, Rock Island public school resident, and also lots of people are here upon our invitation. So thank you for being here. We implore you to vote no to the moratorium on these certain uses in the city of Rock Island for two reasons. We are helping our community to thrive just like you, and we have the same goals of safety and joy, and we just need a few months to show you that. And two, the moratorium asks for exclusivity at a time when Rock Island is calling for growth and community. I mean, just look at this beautiful community here. First, we are helping our community thrive. The Third Place will add an option for just a place to exist, and while a pandemic can take away our third places, the National Institute of Health actually put out a wonderful article about how third places, when they're in person, can heal our communities. The integration of civic planning, quote, can cultivate third places that are essential to daily routines and vibrant, supportive, connected communities. What beautiful language. And as a theater teacher, I connect with this third place idea because the theater is just like a little city. You know, you got your stage, just like here, where we're working, and then we have our home, which is like our dressing room, where we just get ready for the day. We have our stuff there. There's probably lots of rooms in this place that feel like your homes or your own homes, but then there's this third place. And our theater, where I work, had no real third place. I didn't know this was the problem. All I knew was that there were kids in the hallway in the way. And I yelled at them a lot. I'm like, you're just sitting in the hallway. You could be doing something. Go. And I yelled at them. And this was at a place when I was very burned out in my life. But then I learned all about rest, and I learned a lot from Christy actually about that. And so the kids and I worked together to make a third place. We found an office and a little room, and we added a Keurig, and the kids worked together to add some coffee in there and some hot chocolate, and they even made a little sign that said, "Don't eat the sugar packets." And it was a beautiful, because something unexpected happened. It wasn't just a way to get them out of the way. It became a little community center for them when they weren't getting ready, when they weren't on stage. They needed this place so that they could thrive, and something beautiful happened happened. They even worked harder when they were on the stage. And there's research that backs this idea that when we give these people in our lives high expectations and then help them get there and treat them like humans, they meet those expectations, just like we teach all of our public school teachers to do. I know that we can do this as a community, and we can work as a team to talk about what this community can look like together. And lastly, a third place serves as a vital community role via stimulation, support, protection, and care. And this moratorium states that no organization may open that supports the homeless community. So does that also mean that only businesses who exclude certain people will be welcome to open in the next few months? Because when I drive through these new beautiful streets and beautiful renovations in our downtown area, I see hope and I see growth. So let's ask the businesses and the organizations who move in to share that same hope and growth of an inclusive community and trust that we can together as a community work together on those goals instead of this rash, harsh decision. So vote no to this moratorium and just give us a few months to show you that we have the same goals as you do. And Quinn just said something at lunch today. I did not tell her to say this, but she wanted to say it.
Opening up the third place will make the world a better place.
Thank you.
Andy Boswell.
Hello, I'm Andy Boswell. I live in Rock Island. For those of you that do know me, know that I serve this population in our community, those who have needs, mental health, substance abuse, and those who are experiencing homelessness. What we haven't addressed yet is that a couple years ago in the state of Illinois, a bill passed called the Safety Act. And this affects directly the homeless problem in Rock Island and in the Quad Cities and what I do for my job. The Safety Act basically eliminated most of the things that we could keep people in jail for. And unfortunately, in this state and in this country, the majority of people, especially in the state of Illinois, get mental health and substance abuse treatment from jail. That is the #1 provider of mental health services in this state, is jail and prison. So with the Safety Act, they're working on some things to make that better. We are removing most of the people from jail. Let's say a population was 300 people and then we're down to 100 people. Our current jail houses inmates from other counties and other states and other agencies because we don't have hardly anyone there. And what happens to those people that aren't kept in jail? Well, they're released back onto the streets. We haven't fixed their problems. We haven't given them a job. We haven't helped their addiction. We haven't fixed their mental health. So these people are out in the streets. So if you'll notice, there's a correlation in the timeline between the Safety Act passing and the number of homeless people that are visible in Rock Island and in other cities, because it's a direct correlation. Unfortunately, budget cuts have happened. The economy hasn't been fantastic. There's concerns about all these things, and so it's been hard for people to open places like this. So not too long ago, I heard about the third place, and I had lunch at Nest Cafe, which is on the list of places that wouldn't be able to open with the moratorium, with a couple people on the board. And we have clients that we've worked with that have graduated our specialty court programs who work at Nest Cafe. I send clients down there all the time for those resources. I work closely with Christian Care, Transitions Mental Health, Riverside Robert Young, RICA, which is in East Moline Silvis area, to get people services. And what we're doing here is blocking people from getting services. People mentioned the warming shelter this past winter. Well, that made people visible. Those people were here. Those people live in our parks, our backyards, our garages, their cars, all over the place. What a lot of people don't see, I do. I see what goes on behind the scenes. That's part of my job. I go out and look for the people. So what I'm telling you is that when I found out about this third place, I was really excited. So again, I had lunch at Nescafe with a couple of the people from the board, and we talked about this. I thought this is finally filling a gap in the needs that we have in the community, because where do homeless people go during the day when they're not able to be at the shelters? Well, they're either in jail, or they're at the library, or they're hanging out in front of businesses. So now we've given them a place to go. We can connect with them from the agency aspect of we know where they're going to be. They're going to be given a place to stay during the day, activities. Caseworkers like myself can go and find them there and work with them. I felt like I woke up in the Twilight Zone this morning when I saw the post that was shared by Christian Care that this was a thing. I'm just astonished. A couple of years ago, we were at a Rock Island Unplugged event, and I asked some questions about why I should stay in Rock Island. Why should my kids stay here when they graduate? Alderman Parker had an interesting response to that, and I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. He said, think about all the things that you like about Rock Island, and what would you miss if you weren't here or if they weren't here? Well, having this, without this thing here, makes me think this isn't Rock Island anymore. If this is the way things are going to be going, this is not the Rock Island that I love. So I'm really asking that the City Council does not do this moratorium, and we allow people to be helped where they're at, and then we continue to invite resources in the community, because the homeless people aren't going to go away, the needs aren't going to go away, mental health is not going to go away, substance abuse isn't going to go away unless we give people resources and work with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, we are at our 30-minute allowance. However, everyone will get a chance to speak. We have a couple of topics that I feel that everyone deserves a right to speak before we make any decisions or votes on anything. So if you bear with me, this meeting will be a little long tonight, as you can see, but everyone will have a chance to speak.
Move to suspend our rules and allow for as much public comment that is needed.
Second. Any discussion, or is that just a, okay. Any discussion?
We can do a voice vote.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Ron Lund.
Thank you, Mayor and the City Council. Ron Lund, Chief Operations Officer for Project Now. I want to express my displeasure with this moratorium, and I'm going to use your own words here. The city has seen an increased number of development proposals for these uses, specifically in the downtown. Anybody that's heard me talk knows I like numbers. So why are you seeing nonprofits enter downtown Rock Island? The median income in Rock Island Township is under $41,000. The median income for the county is $24,000 higher. The nonprofits are in this community because it's where they need to be. The poverty rate in this county is 15%, astronomically high. Rock Island Township doubles it at 30%. There are low income and poor people in this community. How does the city believe that this is going to benefit the residents? How will the city hit functional zero on homelessness? You won't. Without using nonprofits to provide these resources, the city has to provide these resources. Where is this money coming from? Your nonprofits have access to state and federal funding. How much of this is going to be brought in by the city council or city staff? You have consulted city staff that are not experts. They do not deal with this world. Allow the nonprofits to come in and advise you. We have a study session on the books already for August 11th. You are jumping the gun holding this vote tonight. Table this, have that study session, and show good faith that you truly want to help the residents in this city. I want you to go on record. There are 2 entities that are due to open in the next 60 to 90 days. They are the Good Place, or the Third Place, I apologize. I'll get it right eventually. And Allen's House with the YWCA. If this moratorium goes into effect, are those entities going to be allowed to open? Mayor, I want to bring up a conversation we had 2 weeks ago. When Duck Creek came out of its banks, we received a phone call. That phone call was from the American Red Cross. Your moratorium currently, as it is listed, would not allow us to open our building for storm victims. This moratorium is not written the way that it should be. It is too vague, it is too loose. And nothing against city staff, but they are not the experts. You need to table this vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dwight Ford.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and to the council. I stand as a witness to the generosity of the city of Rock Island. As a kid, I grew up on 505 18th Avenue, the corner of 5th Street and 18th Avenue. All of my formative years were there. I had a wonderful childhood. My father was the type of man that brought homeless people to our home and allowed them to shower and eat with us. My mother was an early childhood educator for 30 years, most of it in this city. I have nothing but fond memories of Douglas Park, Lincoln Homes, Turnkey, the community at large, my high school, the grade schools that I attended. Because we had a sense of generosity, not perfect. The city of Rock Island has always dealt with its challenges with race and income inequality, probably more than any other city. More often than not, it shows up on the front page below the fold. Rock Island attracts attention. I get it. I stand before you tonight because I'm deeply concerned about the generosity of connection. What holds this together is a sense of shared understanding in how we move forward. When this is broken or initiated outside of commitments that are not just calendar, but out of concern, then we are left to try to surmise what is the real intention. When we receive a phone call, or I received a phone call, in a 10 o'clock in the morning meeting with all of my senior staff, rolling out the regular Monday of how we're going to take care of its citizens. I'm thankful that I received this from Alderman Parker. Had I not, I would have been made aware by the media like the rest of my colleagues. And what does that say when we are informed by news stations saying, what do you think about the moratorium? And they're saying, what moratorium? We don't know anything about that. And then have to respond to it. The truth is that we are building a relationship. There's nothing in me that wants to hurt the business community. If you know anything about me, my undergraduate is in business. If you know anything about me, you know my family is a family of serial entrepreneurs. If you know anything about me, you know my doctoral studies are at Kellogg School of Management, the business school. Why would I want to hurt anything that has to do with downtown and the furtherance thereof? But this rollout is injurious. It hurts our true intentions. People are talking about how bad it's going to get. Can I just refresh our memory that this area, 44% increase in homelessness last year? Can I just refresh our memory that the reality of eviction, every 8 seconds in this country, someone is being evicted? Can I refresh our memory that our sister city over in Scott County, Davenport, had the largest number of evictions? When people can't get housing over there, where do you think they go? That bridge brings them right to us because we are a community of connection. What we're trying to do is stand up the services to allow human life to move forward. And I know this is about getting the data. It's interesting because we're looking for ordinances and understandings. The truth is our sister city, it's not that business and nonprofits can't coexist. Our sister city has symphony and orchestra, ballet, ballparks, all downtown alongside of homeless shelters, alongside of service providers. We are left to surmise what is the intention, not because we believe that you are evil in a back room trying to crush us, but when the rollout is with confusing language. Can I ask you, what is a church supposed to do after the SNAP cuts hit and Medicaid when you say no new food pantries? Do we really want a conversation with clergy and congregations to roll up on the city that will bring more of our congregations together than anything else. How are we going to tell them, you got to wait 4 months while we study? Can you open up your doors to feed somebody? How are we going to cut across the missions of our wonderful nonprofits? And Ron Lund laid out about going on the record. It is not because we're trying to hurt you. We're trying to help you understand that this has unintended consequences. We think about the commitment that we had with the freeze. You say 4 months isn't that long. You know, within 4 months, there's a $2 million rollout that we brought to this city. $2 million. And part of that is rolling out to those. We're going to have to find partners, because if we find a new partner to have a housing initiative to put people in and that we pay them, we pay private property owners money in your city to house people.
A few more seconds, sir.
Thank you. I'll close with saying this. Dr. King would always remind us that we are inextricably bound in a network of mutuality. What affects one directly affects all of us indirectly. What I'm saying is that there are indirect consequences that you haven't understood yet. There is possibly the violation of a state statute that is already on the book for income for the homelessness and the Illinois Bill of Rights for the homeless. Can we pause this? Can we have a different conversation? Can we bring everybody to a big table and have a dialogue? Because if you vote yes to this, you're going to make out of people that may not simply be your friend, your enemy. This city doesn't need another enemy. Let's think about this.
Thank you. Tia Parker.
Hello, my name is Tia Parker, a resident in Rock Island for 16 years. I'm approaching all of you today with deep concern regarding the proposed moratorium on essential social services in our city. The resolution's language, particularly the phrasing of appropriately located, regulated, and supported, strikes me as vague, coded, and ominously subjective. It raises serious questions about whose voices are being centered in this decision and who's being left behind. The decision to halt services, even if temporary, such as like food pantries, shelters, and transitional housing under the guise of needing time to evaluate, feels less like thoughtful governance and more like a reaction driven by fear and pressure from commercial interests. I fear that this move will do lasting harm not only to our most vulnerable residents, but also to the moral and economic fabric of our city. Let's be honest, we're not talking about abstract policies, we're talking about real people, many of whom are already residents in this city. Are any of these individuals constituents from council members voting on this moratorium? And if so, have they had their voices actively sought out and considered? Or are we only listening to those who hold property and commercial power? It's convenient to blame visible homelessness on broader issues like crime or economic stagnation, but is there actual data supporting a direct link between these existence of services and increased public safety concern, or are we just responding to discomfort in optics rather than root causes? We are all just one crisis, one layoff, one divorce, one health emergency away from needing these very resources this moratorium seeks to block. It's easy to sit behind a desk with a reliable salary and judge those who are unhoused, but empathy and policy need to walk hand in hand. Lastly, I'd like to challenge the notion that these services harm business development. In fact, failing to support social infrastructure creates deeper community instability, detours ethical investment, and perpetuates a cycle of crisis. Third spaces, those that offer dignity, resources, and refuge, are critical for humane and functional cities. So I urge you to reconsider this moratorium and instead, please fast track the creation of thoughtful, inclusive, and equity-based policy that recognizes unhoused individuals as full members of our community and not problems that need to be relocated.
Greg Hampton.
Good evening. If we've never met, my name is Greg Hampton. I'd love to buy you a coffee sometime. That's what I say every time I preach in my church. So I thought I would just introduce myself the same way to y'all. I am the pastor, or one of the pastors at a church called The House, a local church. We are in an old building that used to be empty. It's called the Seaford Sewing Factory, next to the Expo Center, Botanical Center, the brewery, and tonight we're fortunate enough to have 9 or 10 people from our congregation here. Not because I asked them to come here or that we even came here as a congregation, it's because they are residents of the city and they care about what happens here. And I think because churches know what it takes to start something new. By the time this moratorium expires, we will have reached the coldest part of our year. And services cannot launch on the drop of a dime, especially if they do not know what you will do next. These next 4 months are the exact time when anti-poverty options are being planned and funded and constructed and opened. You are not only choosing the wrong time to hit pause, you are effectively killing and cooling the care for the least among us. You're choosing to hit the pause button when you should have already been proactive. And the impoverished will be punished for your lack of planning. Furthermore, last week it was reported the Downtown Alliance expects the work on the district updates to be finished by the end of July and plans to hold a block party to celebrate the completion in September. With all due respect, the timing of this proposed pause reeks of bigotry and prejudice and discrimination against the poor. It reeks of not wanting more people in poverty on your pretty new streets. You can study and research without stopping the good work that is ready to happen here in Rock Island. So I ask you, please, do not set a table that Jesus would flip.
Patrick Adamson.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Adamson. I am a 20-year resident of Rock Island, and I've worked in the district since 1996. From 2003 to 2010, I ran a deli and a cafe called Mama Compton's. I know you can taste the chicken salad now. I operated the Establishment Theater from 2010 to 2019, leading the comedy sports troupe down here. And during those years, I witnessed the boom of the district and the decline that followed. When the insurance company and the banks and the lawyers left town, the office workers disappeared, the deli fell on hard times, it survived on lunch business. It became impossible to keep the doors open at that time. From 2010 to 2019, my theater and Circa 21 were some of the only family-friendly destinations left downtown Rock Island. But we were nighttime businesses, just like the bars were. And the bars remained popular because they drove the market. And there was a little turnover of the storefronts that were there. And almost no daytime retail presence has been in the downtown for almost 25 years. The district became more and more committed to nightlife because it worked. Rock Island came alive after 10 p.m. Rock Island has not been a walkable and integrated community of diverse businesses or services for almost 25 years. And during my time running both of those businesses, I encountered unsheltered people daily. At the deli, we encountered people who needed to use the restroom, who wanted a drink of water or something to eat with no money in their pocket. At the theater, I had people use the restroom while the show was on and panhandle just outside the door as people were letting out. During that entire time, these same services were operating in the district, in our area. Their presence and the presence of these social services do not create more homelessness. It does not make it more visible. Homelessness has increased. That is what has caused the visibility. Statistics show that it has grown significantly. And when more people experience homelessness, we got to expand services to meet those basic needs. If we don't want to see people experiencing homelessness, we have two options. We can serve them, or we can create policies to move them along. And if we choose that second option, we've failed the basic test of what it means to be a good human. We don't value the life that we see in front of us. My wife, Christy, the founder of the Third Place, is deeply committed to this work. She wakes up every day and seeks out people who are unsheltered and does so by name. She earns their trust, she builds relationships, and she creates results. She's not a fly-by-night do-gooder. She's got more than a decade of proven results as an administrator and a program director in this industry. She is tireless when it comes to helping people experiencing homelessness. She's exactly the person that you want in your community doing this work. She's got a high code of ethics. She worked to build relationships. She met with both mayor, former mayor, the current mayor. She met with 5 or 6 different city officials. All of the people down here, the Project Now, Humility Homes and Services, Heart of Hope Ministries, Nest Cafe. She met with her aldermen. Despite all of this outreach and good faith to build relationships, no one contacted her about this late addition to the agenda. We acted transparently. We seek to build community. You chose to act quietly. You chose to harm and damage a relationship. You do not need an address to be a member of this city. This moratorium is not how you treat partners in good faith. It shows not that you're reflecting in a collaborative spirit that once made Rock Island great. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for fair treatment. The same transparency and engagement and collaborative planning that the city has provided for the Milin Bottoms development. Vote no on this moratorium. Work with us instead of against us. And let's build a Rock Island that serves every resident, housed or unhoused, with dignity and with fairness. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacob Foote.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Jacob Foote. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Quad Cities Chamber of Commerce in support of the full removal of the requirement for fire sprinkler systems in new 1 and 2 family homes here in Rock Island. Our legislative agenda, which is crafted through significant stakeholder engagement, member surveys, committee, and board approval, calls for the creation of additional housing as a distinct need in the Quad Cities. While we understand the ordinance requiring sprinklers was passed with good intentions, the reality is that requiring sprinklers in new homes does go against that goal in multiple ways, including that the requirement significantly increases the cost of building new housing as much as $15,000 per home. It saddles the purchasers of those homes with that cost, plus higher insurance premiums and ongoing maintenance costs for things like preventing frozen pipes and accidental flooding. And it makes Rock Island an outlier of surrounding communities, none of which have the same requirement. All this adds up to a disincentive to build in Rock Island. Our members have shared with us that the requirement and its associated costs have pushed housing development out of the city. We're also aware that the city may consider subsidizing the installation of these systems. While that's a step in the right direction, in practice this would create a new bureaucratic hurdle for developers while adding a new cost burden to the city budget. This solution also does not solve for the increased insurance and maintenance costs for homeowners. Lastly, home fires in Rock Island are an issue, but they're an issue that's concentrated on older housing stock that were built under dated, less strict building requirements. Today's building codes provide significantly higher safety standards that protect against home fires. Fire safety is undeniably important, but in Rock Island, the sprinkler mandate has unfortunately done more harm than good, and it's time for it to be removed. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave Hodge.
Hello, my name is Dave Hodge. I am a resident of Rock Island and live on the west end of Rock Island. And just came here to talk about the memorandum. Can't talk. But my concern is it started raining this summer, torrential rains. My basement flooded the first time. If I could have sat back and planned for the next 4 months on maybe how to stop that rain, my basement would have been flooded completely. My house would probably be unlivable, and I'd probably be looking for another residence to live in. We can't stop to go after the problem that is causing some of the issues in our city. Sometimes we have to continue to take action as the crisis is still happening. I'm coming here as a citizen today, even though I work for a nonprofit that is directly impacted by the bill that was passed by administration, and knowing that the refugee and immigrant community in our city has literally being stripped of their SNAP benefits along with others, is literally losing all the funding for their rent and their housing, and knowing that the rain that is potentially coming because of that for our city, it is not a time to lessen helping those in need. Is it a time to be extremely active in opening the doors of a local food pantry here in the area that helps specifically refugee and immigrant families? Their service numbers from the previous month doubled this month because of what's happening already. And to close the doors on opportunities for food and housing for people who are at high risk right now because of the storm that's coming just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm just asking, like everybody else, that this is tabled, that it's voted on no, that you reach out to your community leaders, those who are working in this field, who are trying to help the problem now, to keep the basements from being flooded, and those that have needs to get help as good neighbors would. And just ask that you would just stop and consider moving forward with this so that we can take action that needs to happen now together instead of against each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Laura Mann.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Mann. I am the founder and director of Nest Cafe, and as I've been standing here for the last hour or so looking around, I see probably half of this room filled with regular customers at Nest Cafe, which makes me really happy that 5 years ago when I met with city leadership and was told I should look in Moline rather than Rock Island, that I did not listen to them. I am here to speak about the memorandum to limit human services in downtown Rock Island, including food pantries, shelters, detox centers, etc., which is utterly baffling to me. I understand that some business owners and residents may fear that having people who are struggling financially loitering around in the streets could be problematic, which is why I'm especially baffled by this resolution. I've lived in Rock Island for almost 20 years, and downtown has been struggling the entire time I have lived here. This is not a problem caused by homeless individuals. If that were true, there would not be a thriving downtown anywhere. No thriving Chicago, no thriving New York, no thriving Philadelphia. This is not a problem caused by homeless individuals. Getting rid of places for people who are struggling to gather does not get rid of the problem. It creates hostility between the city and the people who choose to live in it. If we are going to continue to not invest in services that actually help mitigate homelessness, then I ask each of you to decide which of your neighborhoods will provide the shelter, food services, safe sleeping environments, and gathering spaces for human beings to gather, which is what humans do. Because since we're not investing in programs to address the issues causing homelessness, it is not going away. And if we are not willing to provide safe spaces where actual people gather together rather than dispersing randomly through the streets, then you need to choose a neighborhood where they can go. Will it be yours, Linda? Or yours, Jenny? Or yours, Mark or Dylan? Because it's going to be somewhere. Because if we insist on herding people away from downtown, they have to go somewhere. I am 100% opposed to this ridiculous moratorium. It is ill-advised, short-sighted, and honestly, ignorant. So let's be wise about investing in our community. I am not representing a bleeding heart agenda. I am representing common sense, and I hope you will use yours.
Thank you. Brianna Boswell.
Hi, Brianna Boswell, resident of Rock Island. For 23 years, I have to look at my husband, 24 almost. In the 6th Ward the whole time. I'm looking at you, Mark. And I'm here to talk to you about this moratorium, too. I understand that this was proposed fast and furious and in kind of a sneaky manner, if I may. Don't appreciate that as a citizen of Rock Island. I think we deserve transparency. And we have put each and every one of you in office to represent our values, and so I hope you hear us tonight. I strongly object to this moratorium. It does not reflect my values. And denying service agencies the ability to function in Rock Island will not eliminate housing issues, I think, as you've heard from some of the speakers before me. Nor will it change loitering. In fact, it may exacerbate them. Without dignified services and safe places to be, unhoused people may have no choice but to camp out in public areas, whether that be the downtown or city parks. It's not going to go away. So I question also whether the city could truly accomplish a meaningful study or any meaningful steps in 4 months as we head into the cold season. I've been a public health practitioner for 17 years, and I've done many, many community health needs assessments. It takes focus groups, it takes all the right partners at the table, it takes a strong study design, and you can't do that in 4 months with a community like this. Can you study and allow agencies to function at the same time? Yes, you can. And so that's what I would encourage you to do. Show up at the table for the opportunity that Dr. Ford mentioned, please, and let's have that study. But we don't need to stop the ball from rolling. We don't need to stop people from having food and safe places to be. In closing, I think the city would do well to welcome social service agencies to be a part of the solution to challenges facing unhoused people. In so doing, you might once again demonstrate leadership in this area. When we first moved here, we were leaders in this area. We had organizations like Neighborhood Partners. We have a legacy that we can lean back on in Rock Island to create these kind of community partnerships, neighbors supporting neighbors, and I think we should do just that. So please, do not place a moratorium on social service agencies in Rock Island. Thank you.
Thank you. Last name Thies. Last name Thies.
It's Tees.
Thies? I'm sorry, ma'am.
My name is Molly Teese. I am the programs director for RICA, the Rock Island County Council on Addictions, but more importantly, I am a citizen of the city of Rock Island. I found out about this meeting at about 3:30 this afternoon, and on my way back from Mercer County, I've been grappling with what I was going to say and how I was going to approach this. Because not only do I live here, I work here. I'm one of those stakeholders you people need to talk to. So I decided to tell you my story. What I think about when I hear about this moratorium is somebody complaining about those people. Those people that they don't want to see because they're dirty, because they're smelly, because they're probably high or drunk or potentially mentally ill. I grew up in Peoria, Illinois. I'm a graduate of the University of Illinois. I graduated in 1998. March 31st, 2004, I moved to the Quad Cities because I was one of those people. The services that you were proposing to put a moratorium on saved my life. I specifically came here at the recommendation of a counselor in order to get my life back on track. I am now a leader. More importantly, I'm a taxpayer. When we rehabilitate people, we become contributing members of society that put money in our coffers. Plain and simple, we're never going to solve homelessness. We're not. We're never going to get rid of drug and alcohol issues. We're never going to get rid of mental health. But you want to know what? We can do things that more people survive and heal and become contributing members of society than die on the street. I don't want to live in a community where I can't be a neighbor. This country as a whole is so divisive right now. So divisive. We're divisive because we don't know our neighbors. We don't get the opportunity to know each other because we're scared. Stop being scared. Start being a neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you. After the next couple of names that I call, we'll have approximately 5 or 6 people left. The conversation for them is pertaining to the Milin Bottoms, so I will give them the option. The option is solely theirs of speaking now or waiting to the end of the meeting due to time constraints. You know, we do want to get on with the program, but every voice will be heard. So after the next couple names, you will have the option to speak now or at the end of the meeting, and that topic is strictly for the Milin Bottoms people. Andrew Burke. He left? Okay. All right, where are we at now? Okay. Oh, well, we're going to get through it now then. Mark Roberts.
Thank you. My name is Mark Roberts. I am retired environmental education coordinator for Clinton County, and I have spent my life working in natural resources. I also spent 20 years restoring trumpeter swans to the Midwest. Program was really important to me. I'm the creator and an administrator of the Friends of Milin Bottoms Facebook page, where all of our surveys of wildlife have been published by Kelly McKay. Kelly McKay has a lifetime of professional wildlife surveying experience. His company, Bioeco Research and Monitoring Center, is a recognized leader in honest wildlife surveying. He has spent more than 120 hours, usually all alone, slogging through floods and mud, heat and humidity during this unbearable summer and spring. He is desperately trying to establish a baseline of what lives in Milin Bottoms. No assistance, no team, no tech, no boats, no drones, no camera traps, no funding. Just his wits, his grit, his eyes, and his ears. Why? There is no monetary gain. He is a volunteer. It is so simple why he does it. He has a love of wild places, and he has an outrage at those who would destroy it. What did he find in those 120 hours? An amazing array of wildlife, including 9 current threatened and endangered species, and 7 former threatened and endangered species. In 14 forays into the bottoms, found 9 species of amphibians, 11 species of reptiles, 15 species of mammals, and an astounding 142 species of birds. To date, no one has surveyed the plants, fungi, insects, or other invertebrates. Among that list, the whooping crane is a federally endangered species found in Milin Bottoms this last spring. The species is trying to survive, trying to rebound from a low of 20 surviving individuals in 1940 to a paltry 550 wild birds worldwide today. They are one of the most endangered species on the planet, named any you can think of, from pandas and, you know, all the things that we talk about. Whooping cranes are here. Current state and endangered species in Illinois found in Milin Bottoms during these surveys: black-crowned night heron, yellow-crowned night heron, common gallinule Blanding's turtle. Current state threatened species found in Illinois, species in Illinois found in Milin Bottoms: black-billed cuckoo, least bittern, osprey, smooth soft-shelled turtle. Recently delisted threatened and endangered species in the state of Illinois found in Milin Bottoms. These animals represent untold dollars spent and uncounted hours of effort given to bring back critical habitat and restore these species. Kelly found Cooper's hawk, delisted in 1996. Red-shouldered hawk, delisted in 2003. North American river otter, delisted in 2004. American bald eagle, delisted in 2009. Sandhill crane, delisted in 2009. Trumpeter swan, delisted in 2010. And peregrine falcon, delisted in 2014. All these species, by their very definition, are rare. And that's almost 10% of all the species found fit that bill at Milin Bottoms. There is a saying, you don't know what you got until it's gone. The Rock Island City Council no longer has the right to claim such ignorance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Steve Scranton. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. My name is Steve Scranton. I live in Coal Valley. I was born, raised, and schooled in Rock Island. I want to use my public comment to comment on agenda letter C, the resolution for a moratorium. When I first read about the third place, I had heard about it before I read about it in the newspaper. I immediately talked with friends wanting to volunteer to be able to help do the work on the building. In the resolution in the moratorium, it reads, one of the concerns is public safety. And having a facility where there is a place for people to store their possessions sounds to me like it is going to eliminate people being afraid and striking out or causing more fights. To put a facility where it is needed instead of the problem migrating seems to be a good place to start. When the City Council is working to improve the city with the West End Revitalization project, it seems unwise to potentially push homeless people to seek shelter in abandoned buildings that I've been in this City Council room hearing the efforts being put in to avoid that. I would like to see this referendum tabled or rejected. There are so many organizations that are helping keep Rock Island safe right now. I am speaking after some amazing people here in the room. Dr. Dwight Ford, Andy Boswell, the members of the third place, and I would like to be able to contribute to the success of Rock Island, do my volunteer work in a town, and be able to provide a humane place. So, thank you.
Thank you. For the remainder names, I will give you the option of speaking now or towards the end of the meeting. Jane Bryant.
Hello, my name is Jane Kettering Bryant. I'm a Rock Island resident, teacher. I live in the 2nd Ward. Before I talk, I have a very short comments, but I would like to say, hearing about the resolution for the moratorium, as a former social worker and just a citizen of Rock Island, I'm in complete agreement with everything I've heard. More services, not less. I think this is a very important priority for Rock Island. In terms of the Milin Bottoms, when I was 5 years old, my family moved out to Southwest Rock Island. Every time we drove home on 92, if I didn't get stuck in the middle seat between my brothers, I would peer out the window at the long stretch of wetlands. I knew it was a magical, eerie place where wild things happened. It was a place that stirred my soul. Somehow, even as a child, I also knew it was a vitally important and special place, even if I did not know why. As I said 2 weeks ago, destroying or even compromising an irreplaceable habitat for any development is truly unconscionable. Mr. Stern and Mr. Hubanks, please develop your dispensary in another location. I know it will bring in very good money to you and to Rock Island. And as I've stated many times before, wherever you build it, they will come. Just don't build it anywhere near the Milin Bottoms. Please listen to your fellow residents, Mr. Sturt. Please listen to your constituents, dear Mayor, and esteemed members of our City Council. Please offer Mr. Stern and Hubanks another place to build. Please offer Mr. Stern the opportunity to be a community hero. Thank you.
Thank you. Tevin.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, constituents, and peers. I'm up here to advocate for the Milin Bottoms. It is a rather gorgeous piece of land that we've got there. Driving across 74 when you're going into Iowa and driving across 74 when you're coming to Illinois, it's kind of two different pictures if you really look at it. Driving into Illinois is a vastly, much more beautiful landscape, in my opinion. It's one of the great things about this state. It's very green. Milin Bottoms, it's got a lot of ecological value. It's also just one of those things that are like really irreplaceable. You know, there's always, you know, like she was saying, there's always going to be another place you can put a truck stop, a dispensary. You kind of can't really redo the Milin Bottoms, you know? So I would just ask for, you know, a little more thought before we make choices we can't ever undo. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Sandy Mace. Sandy.
Hi, I'm Sandy Mace, and I live just south of the Milin Bottoms. Drive that road all the time. And I've been coming to these meetings for several months now. I'm very concerned about the proposed development of the Bottoms, and I strongly disapprove of it. The idea of developing and destroying this ecological sensitive habitat and all of its inhabitants is unconscionable. And you've heard that word before, because it is. Why can't we just leave one of these last pristine wetland areas alone? I believe the best course of action would be no sale of this land at all. Just leave it alone. If fuel tanks are to be buried in this wetland and floodplain, the outcome will be a widespread disaster involving the entire Mississippi Valley. Please listen to the environmental experts. It is essential that the conservation easement gets passed, but it must also include the 10-acre targeted development site. We all need to do whatever we can to protect this land. No sale or development of any kind would be the very best answer. All of this destruction you are planning is irreversible. You and I know that the teeming life in the bottoms plays a huge role in the balance of our ecosystem. So why do you refuse to listen to the environmental experts? I implore you to stop the sale and development of this land and take it elsewhere. Why would you not be proud to protect the unique ecosystems that Milin and Rock Island were built around? The heritage of the land and the people who, because of it, the Quad Cities was founded. I ask you today to listen to the experts and consider your ethical duty to our community. In addition, this entire deal appears to have been decided on long before the public was even aware of what was going on. I don't believe any city council should have ever allowed this to happen. You are the leaders young people look up to lead with integrity. And I would urge you to set a better example of leadership and sound ethics for the next generation to follow. And I do have one more thought like Joyce had, wondering why Alderman Healy doesn't recuse himself from voting regarding Stern due to the business relationship he has with him. That's a clear example of conflict of interest. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Linda Bordson. Linda?
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council of Rock Island. I spoke before you 2 weeks ago. I am from Clinton, and I consider myself a daughter of the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River, we have commonly connects us between Clinton and the Quad Cities, between Minneapolis and New Orleans. And Mark Roberts kind of stole my thunder here, because Kelly McKay has spent hundreds and hundreds of hours slogging through Milin Bottoms, documenting endangered and threatened species, including, as Mark said, the black-crowned night heron, the yellow-crowned night heron. Kelly even found a few Blandings turtles there, yahoo! And none of these discoveries can be made in just a day or two, because species evolve, they migrate, they navigate. It takes hours and hours of concentrated effort. And I have to tell you, as a birder, I was so delighted to hear that a whooping crane chose to grace his presence or her presence in Milin Bottoms. As Mark said, in the 1940s, there were only 20 whooping cranes in the entire country. Only 20. Now, thanks to some perseverance, we have 600. One of those 600 chose to make an appearance in Milin Bottoms. And it's so imperative that these wetlands be preserved, because all along the Mississippi River, we're a critical migratory habitat. So many wetlands have already been drained and developed, and I want to commend the citizens of Rock Island for coming up here and speaking eloquently, both on Milin Bottoms and on the moratorium, because I have to wonder, if Mr. Stern was not permitted a TIF, would he even be considered developing out there? And the TIF, definitely, from what residents are saying, you are in desperate need of developing the city of Rock Island itself. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you. John Briggs.
Fire Marshal Briggs.
Okay, all right, we'll go on. We have 3 more names left, folks. Okay, all right, 3 more names left. Brian Ritter.
Dear City Council members and Mayor, I'm Brian Ritter. I am from Davenport, Iowa. I've worked in the conservation field for nearly 25 years of my life. I'm here to talk about the Milin Bottoms. I realize that this has been a long and contentious issue, and I'm sure you're all looking forward to washing your hands of this. I want to express my appreciation for those of you who have been willing to sit down with our side and talk about this issue and listen to our concerns. I'd like to express my support for the proposed conservation easement in the Milin Bottoms, but it does not go far enough. I would encourage you to delay any construction in the area known as Casino West until you are absolutely certain that there will be no lasting impact to the gem known as the Milin Bottoms. I'm concerned that the proposed truck stop development and how it will have a lasting negative impact on the natural world with very little gain for the citizens of Rock Island and for those of us who live in the greater Quad Cities. As you've heard time and again from our side, the Milin Bottoms is the largest and most unique wetland area remaining in the Quad Cities. It serves as a release valve for the Mississippi River when it floods, which, by the way, is happening more than ever before. Recent modeling suggests that the site will face inundation during high water events as soon as 2050, just 25 years from now. Wetlands like the Milin Bottoms are also serve as nature's kidneys. They filter our water for free, and the Milin Bottoms provides a home to hundreds of both common and rare plant and animal species that we've heard about tonight, many of which are only there because this place lacks human pressure. Will the city be responsible for cleaning up contaminants when they leach off the site from the truck stop? I implore you to pass the conservation easement to protect this sensitive area, and I implore you to not allow the truck stop to be developed in our area's last remaining ecological treasure of this size. Please do not fall victim to the promises of the developer or any other developer that this is the only way to save this city. There is still time to save the Milin Bottoms for generations to come. Please choose wisely.
Elizabeth Van Loon. Okay, sorry.
As a former social worker at the Robert Young Center in Rock Island, I'd like to preface that much of what I'm going to say tonight applies to this proposed moratorium as well. My name is Elizabeth Van Camp, and I live in Davenport, Iowa, but I love Rock Island. I didn't venture over to the Illinois side of the river as a kid, but as I grew up and stayed in the area as an adult, I began to exploring Rock Island and grew quite fond of your city. From the Botanical Center to the Riverfront View and various activities at Tweebrook Park to Black Hawk State Park and Augustana's Geology Museum, I've spent a lot of time enjoying all that Rock Island has to offer to Quad Cityans. So when I heard that Rock Island also has the Milin Bottoms, a wetland area that's been relatively untouched by humans, serves as a large bald eagle roosting area, and is home to the Blanding's turtle, a species that I help research and conserve at Nahant Marsh, I was thrilled. What an ecological gem we have right here in the Quad Cities. But my excitement was quickly dimmed by the news that there are plans for a 10-acre area within the Milin Bottoms to be developed into a gas station and dispensary. So I began attending your council meetings to hear the concerns that Quad Cityans were bringing to your attention about this and how you were all responding to your constituents. To say that I've been disappointed by the lack of care and empathy from people who were elected by the people for the people is an understatement. I've watched as meeting after meeting your eyes glaze over when people object to the proposed development, and as you've pushed the project forward to the great dismay of the Rock Island citizens in attendance, and as you've refused to provide adequate and unbiased information about the project, why it's being so rushed, and why it must go in the Milin Bottoms. You're ignoring the will of the people, your bosses, and doing so with what appears to be a lack of empathy for them as well as the animals and insects that live at the Milin Bottoms. You don't seem to care about the very real and long-term consequences of developing near or within a wetland, and you all appear to be representing the people in name alone, instead catering to a rich developer in hopes that his development project will solve your budget deficit. But there's no guarantee that this project is going to accomplish that. In fact, looking at the projected numbers, it seems highly unlikely that you'll see the $2 million a year in revenue you hope for. And even if you do, that won't solve the problem of a poorly managed city budget. And the health, financial, and environmental repercussions of this ill-advised development project should not fall on Rock Island taxpayers and the wildlife that lives at Milin Bottoms. I understand the need for official recommendations on the suitability of the site for commercial development from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Illinois DNR, but when so many of your constituents, including those who are experts on local plant and animal life, object to this project because well-known risks of developing in and near a wetland, why hasn't that caused you all to reconsider this project? The consistent and loud objections should ring alarm bells for you, no matter what the environmental report Matt Stern paid for says. The fact that he paid for the environmental report for his own project should also ring alarm bells, but that doesn't seem to faze you. Can you understand why people might feel skeptical of your judgment when this process has been so rushed, common sense concerns are disregarded, and ethics seem to be thrown out the window? I found it rich that at the last City Council meeting, Alderman Parker encouraged a speaker to get Rock Island citizens more involved in their project, to seek their input and get them involved in the planning process, all while this council continues to ignore the voices of Rock Island citizens in regards to this development project. You pride yourselves on listening and tailoring projects to your citizens' needs, and I commend that. But that concern appears to be absent when it comes to the Milin Bottoms, and apparently to this moratorium as well. I was told by Alderman Parker that many of your constituents are supportive of this project, but I haven't seen that support at the council meetings. I've seen quite the opposite. I'm curious as to how you all decide when you'll take your constituents' input seriously and when you can simply disregard it and carry on. While the financial gains from this project are uncertain, especially with so much opposition to the businesses to begin with, some things are certain. There will be ecological harm caused during construction and after these businesses open. Wildlife and biodiversity will suffer, and water quality and flood mitigation will be negatively impacted. And this isn't new knowledge, as we've seen time and time again how developing in wetlands is disastrous all around. And you all know this as well because you've heard from ecological experts about the very real risks for months now. But at least I can sleep well at night knowing that I spoke out about this. I tried to stop the development from moving forward. I fought for what's right, as so many others in this room have. I can't say the same for any of you, aside from Alderwoman Barnes, who voted no on the TIF district. She seems to be the only one with a moral compass at this point. Speaking of fighting against this project, I hope you all take time to read the Chicago Tribune article about this proposed development that should be published sometime this week. I do hope it won't paint the city of Rock Island and this development project too poorly, but I'm happy to know more people will be aware of this issue and the opposition soon. I hope by the time the article comes out, there may have been a positive turn of events here in Rock Island, but that's obviously not up to us, the people, even though you're supposed to do what's best for those who live in your community and voted for you. I guess what happens now depends on what kind of legacy you all want to leave behind. We've continually been told that development won't negatively impact the Milin Bottoms, but this has been said with blissful ignorance. Those of us who have studied the impact of development and habitat fragmentation know this is simply not true. You can't develop natural spaces like the Milin Bottoms without negative repercussions for wildlife and humans alike. The immediate financial gain for Matt Stern and the city of Rock Island means long-term health, financial, and environmental repercussions for current and future generations. So, why not find a more suitable location for this development project? If Matt Stern's vision and commitment to reignite Rock Island as an innovative trendsetter is so incredible, he should be able to revitalize any part of Rock Island. In addition to appearing callous and careless, building at the Milin Bottoms shows a lack of creativity and ingenuity, so maybe Matt's not such a visionary after all. And the proposed moratorium is careless and callous as well, and perhaps if you all involve those affected by decisions such as this, you would live up to your reputation as a council that cares. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra Breenan. Sandra?
Yes. I am Sister Sandra Brunin, a Benedictine sister from St. Mary Monastery in Rock Island. And I come to you speaking in the name of all the sisters who live at the monastery. We have not had the opportunity to discuss with each other the moratorium, but I would say without even, with no hesitation at all, that we certainly would support the opposition that has been being shared here this evening. I am prepared, though, to speak more directly about our strong support, our concern about the Milin Bottoms issue. We support the proposal that's being considered tonight to establish a conservation preserve with the wetlands. We really believe that the wetlands are a treasure, and they support the species living there, and they also support us. The water filtration and flood mitigation issues are directly serve our needs, and the Milin Bottoms are important for those things. We believe the impact of decisions on our environment, we believe that the impact of decisions on our environment, both now and into the future, must always be considered. It is easy to place the value of economic development above all else, and that is a mistake. For that reason, we are disappointed that the proposal considered at your last meeting to expand the TIF area was approved. We do not understand that. We will continue to monitor your actions. We thank you for the attention you have given to the concerns that you have heard, and we hope that you take them all seriously. Thank you.
Moving on with item number 6, Update Rock Island. Update Rock Island. Nominations are open for the 38th Annual Rock Island Citizens of the Year Awards. Each year, people in the community have an opportunity to submit a nomination for those who have inspired others or made selfless contributions of service to the city. There are 9 categories available for nomination: individual, youth, education, professional, artist or creator, veteran, city employee, business and organization, church or nonprofit. The nomination form is on the front page of the city's website at rigov.org. Nominations will be accepted until Friday, August 8th at 5 p.m. Winners will be recognized and presented with awards during the August 25th City Council meeting, and winners will also ride in the 41st Annual Labor Day Parade on Monday, September 1st. West End Revitalization Community Meeting. Next steps in the participatory budgeting process will take place on Tuesday, August 5th, from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Center, 630 9th Street. The steering committee has reviewed all submitted ideas and is developing up to 10 project proposals. At this meeting, you can learn about the proposals, share feedback to strengthen them, and get ready to vote starting August 30th. For questions, visit mlkcenter.org or call 309-732-2999. Calling participants for Soul of the City. Soul of the City 2025 is coming up on Saturday, August 30th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Franklin Field, 1251 9th Street, Rock Island. This outdoor community celebration brings together the MLK Center, Rock Island Parks and Rec, and the West End Rib Fest, the Community Caring Conference, and the Rock Island County NAACP. The event highlights our neighborhoods, families, and cultures with live entertainment, kid activities, and a parade and the Rib Fest competition. We are still seeking participants through August 1st for merchant and food vendors, Rib Fest contestants, nonprofit informational booths, and parade entries. Links to sign up are available on the MLK Center's website. Thank you. Item 7.
Before I call this ordinance, I need to make sure Alderman Healy is on the call. We're having some technical difficulties with the live streaming. Alderman Healy, can you hear us? So Norm, he's trying to talk, but it's not picking up. So what I propose to do in the sake of time is I can call him from my phone and put him on the mic. Does that work for everybody?
Is that allowed? Can we do that?
Yes, it's allowed.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Alderman Healy, I'm calling you.
Hello.
Can everybody hear you?
I hope so.
Yeah, Alderman Haley, just speak up when you go to vote, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Item 7.
A, an ordinance amending Chapter 3 Alcoholic Liquor, Section 3-12C, limitation on certain licenses, providing City Council with the discretion to grant the creation of an additional license in a class with a restriction on size. Second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
Alderman Healy made a second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker,
No.
Pulis,
Aye.
Healy,
Aye.
Evans,
No.
Hurt, and Barnes.
No.
Motion carries.
Item B,
A special ordinance approving a development agreement between the City of Rock Island and Newfields Venture LLC. Second reading.
Move to pass the ordinance.
Second.
there's a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item C,
Report from administration regarding a resolution for a moratorium on all new boarding houses, congregate living facilities, detoxification facilities, food pantries, emergency shelters, halfway houses, homeless shelters, soup kitchens, and transitional housing expiring November 24th, 2025.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
I have some discussions on that. I just dealt with someone this weekend who found themselves homeless, living out of their car. And I think that when it comes to the homeless right now, we really need to do everything we can to assist them, not limit them. So I will be voting no on this.
Can you put your mic on, please, for me, sir? Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. It's hard to hear.
I've got something to say. I can honestly tell you our system currently fails us anyway. I have a family member who's homeless, mental health, and has had crap for resources. We have some good ones here in the city. I'm not going to call it any particular organization or for either side. And I can tell you, ticks me off, we're sitting here at this juncture with this vote when there should have been better things done. I'm not saying by the city, but all these organizations that come to the council and they claim all the great things they're doing. I can tell you from a firsthand standpoint, that does not happen. And those that know me and the family member I'm talking about would concur. But this is ridiculous. And I agree, we need the services. So I'm telling you right now, whatever direction this takes, this city, these organizations as a whole need to do better. They need to come together better. And this is kind of my preaching moment, sorry. But they have to come together. This is not a city council matter. This is, it is, but it's also a matter of organizations that all come and they say they're going to do things and they don't follow through. It really needs to be a better effort, and I'm gonna piggyback on this just a little bit. So all the people that come here, a different topic, the Milin Bottoms, I understand your passion, but boy, I sure wish I seen the same passion when it comes to dealing with homelessness and mental health in our own community. And that's sad that we prioritize that over actual human beings that are suffering in our city. So I would like to postpone this and then hopefully get some groups together to get a better plan. I do feel that this is vaguely written a little bit here. I wish we could, we have some good groups in here that I feel that, will benefit. I don't want that to hurt their opening up either. But I do think that we need to have some different conversations. I'm not saying draw this out 4 months. I'm saying I'd rather postpone this maybe to the second meeting in August.
Okay. So there's a motion to postpone to the second meeting of August.
And I would second that, and that would be August 25th.
Okay. So we have a first and a second. And that is debatable if there's any discussion on that.
So I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I want to begin by thanking representatives from the various organizations for coming tonight, and more importantly, for the work that you do for our community. I value it and I appreciate it. As many of you know, I come out of the union movement, and in the labor tradition, there's an old saying, we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, meaning that we should prioritize listening over speaking. And I've had the privilege of representing downtown Rock Island for 8 years now, and I can attest, listening to my constituents, that this is a very pertinent and frequently cited concern. They may not be here tonight, they may not be speaking at the podium, but the effects, which were acknowledged by some of the organizational representatives here tonight, do exist. Now, I sympathize. I don't agree with statements that such organizations cause homelessness, right? I understand that homelessness exists whether you exist or not. However, I do have several constituents who for many years now have said, we are scared, we are worried. And these aren't corporations, right? This isn't the big bag Chamber of Commerce coming in and lobbying the city council against poor people. These are mom and pop operators. You know, we don't have many businesses in downtown Rock Island, and the ones that are there are small mom and pop operations that have been there for 30 years, like John Kine, not to say that he contacted me, but he's been there for 30 years, like many of our downtown business owners, right? So these business owners call me regularly about a person experiencing being unhoused, breaking into their business over the weekend because they need a place to stay. And individuals panhandling at their place of business. And again, I understand that you all do not cause this to happen. It happens, and you're all here trying to help it. And again, I appreciate that, and I commend you for doing it, and I want to do my part to be a good partner. However, returning to my point about 2 ears and 1 mouth, ask your spouse, it really doesn't mean a lot if you say, I hear you, but you take no action. You do nothing about their concerns. I have struggled with this very much. Again, I empathize with what you are all doing, but I also listen to my constituents who are similarly afraid of the impacts to their business and their property. So, you know, the number one thing that I've learned serving on this city council for 8 years is that it's a balancing act, and that there are very good points on all sides, whether it be the Milin Bottoms development, whether it be this issue, but I see it as my responsibility to try to craft mindful and least impactful public policy to try to listen to my constituents and actually solve a problem. Now, this is a 4-month moratorium that will not impact existing service providers. I sympathize and I understand it will impact some organizations that have yet to open, and I'm sorry that you're being caught in the crosshair, the crossfire of an issue that has been percolating in downtown Rock Island for many, many years. However, the original proposal was for this to be a 6-month moratorium, and I and my colleagues thought and said, well, wait a minute, that's getting into January. We do not want to box ourselves out of a situation where if there is life-saving necessity to have a shelter for the winter, we don't want to box ourselves out and do something here that we may regret in 6 months. So we consulted with staff and we said, could we get something done in 4 months instead of 6? And they said, yeah, we could probably work with that. So I guess my point is that I understand that this is a challenge and a burden on our service providers, but it's trying to be done in a way that is least impactful as possible. Now, to the greater point, many times we're faced with these sort of binary decisions. Do we close the bars down at 2 a.m. or not? Do we shut the home, the Lift Now Center this past winter or not? These are, false binaries, in my opinion. Preventing homeless shelters from opening in the next 4 months does not do anything to address the very real challenge of unhoused people existing in our community. And we do need to do more on that front. And so I guess out of respect for my constituents that are worried about the proliferation of social service agencies, whether it's a valid concern or not, I am supporting this 4-month moratorium. However, to the greater point, I look forward and I encourage my colleagues on City Council to use this as a starting point to consult with the subject matter experts to figure out how can we better coordinate, what types of regulations are needed, and what type of support is needed from the city to address this problem. I believe it's been mentioned a few times, but this could be a good starting point for the city to consider procuring an holistic anti-poverty plan, similar to what the city of Dubuque in Iowa has. That could inform our relationship with such agencies as well. So I guess I encourage and I welcome my colleagues on City Council's partnership in this being the beginning of a very important conversation about how do we get our hands around this growing challenge for Rock Island. I regret the impact that this will have on some of you in the audience, but I hope you sympathize with our position and understand that I appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Alderman Parker, but I would agree with Alderman Hurt. We're talking August 25th. That is not that much time to wait and try to get some more information to make a as you put it, a meaningful decision for the remainder of that time. And if staff can do it in 4 months, let's see what can be done in 2 months. Let's give staff a chance, and let's give our community partners a chance to reach out to the members here that they have elected, and to meet with us 2-on-2, so there's no OMA issues, so that we can have these discussions and then come together again on the 25th. And again, it may pass once we get the information, or we may have a better understanding from where the other person stands. I really don't want it to put us in a situation where we act without a complete understanding of what the other person is saying.
I guess I'll make a quick comment. I am in support of community and supporting agents of the community. Me personally, I am not in favor of this moratorium. And I understand the opinions of the council persons that are in favor of it. However, there's some things with a new administration, with new council persons coming, that, they have to prove themselves. They have to earn trust. They have to earn respect. Now, there's some things on the agenda that I do understand, like an ordinance we just passed, 7A. I get that. I'm new. You have to prove yourself. But this is something right here that I ask for them to, council persons, to trust the process. Whenever it is tabled or pushed back, whatever date it is, allow me the chance to do my job. Allow me the chance to get out into the community. Allow me the chance to strengthen public and private partnerships so we can address this issue. Functional zero is a word that I brought up even on the campaign trail, and I'm not going there with that, but I am going towards the area of supporting our residences, putting Rock Island in a position to where we can show our strength, to where we can protect the vulnerable in our community. So I look forward to doing that day in and day out. I have spoke with Third Place with the project now, and I look forward to having deeper, more meaningful conversations and actions to whenever this does come on paper again, it won't be an issue. And that is with all due respect to the council persons and their different opinions, and with all due respect to the businesses that have a viable issue with this memorandum passing. So that's all I have, but you can look forward to your newly elected mayor, getting boots on the ground and getting ahead of this thing to where it won't have to be such a big response from the community over something I feel that they shouldn't have to come out and fight over. Thank you. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I do agree with the pause to August, the second meeting of August. I think one of my biggest concerns is homelessness is a big issue. It is an issue we can't just put a Band-Aid on by having lots of things pop up. I think there needs to be a conversation with all entities in the Quad Cities that focus on homelessness, not just those that exist in Rock Island, those that exist across the river. I mean, you've got Humility Homes, you've got the House of Hope, you've got lots of other agencies that deal with homelessness and poverty, and I think it needs to be a comprehensive discussion with all of those entities, not shutting out or shunning anyone, but everybody needs to come together, because that's the only way we're going to solve this. With fractionated things here and there, you get duplication of services, and I don't think we need duplication of services. I think there are enough agencies that we can come together with a comprehensive plan that will benefit those citizens who need assistance and need help.
Can I get some clarity on the tabling? Is the intention, so we're revisiting this in the second meeting of August. We're going to bring it back from the table in the second week of August. Would that still have an expiration date of November 24th? Are we limiting the amount of time for the moratorium from 4 months to 3? Or are we pushing the 4 months further into the calendar? Do you understand my question?
If I may, it was my intention to keep the ending date so that we're not pushing everything into the winter months. Because that, again, as we've heard tonight, it would be very difficult for them to mobilize adequate emergency housing.
I agree.
For the sub-zero weather.
So what we would need when it does come back on the second meeting of August, someone would have to make a motion to amend that moratorium because there's two different references in there. One states it's a 4-month moratorium and one has that ending date of November 24th. So just putting that on everyone's radar that would have to be amended at that time.
And my hope would be with the conversations taking place, including all the agencies, not just some, but all of the agencies, that maybe that timeline will come more into focus. Maybe it is still staying with November. Maybe it does have to be 4 months, but maybe it also can be shortened to 3 months. But I would hope that with that whole conversation, we can put together a viable plan for this.
So while I will thank you for what you guys have said, I think this does show a sense of urgency, and I think that's what the message is being sent here, to bring a lot of entities to the table, and sooner the better.
I don't know if I guess I would question that, and I question whether my constituents in downtown would agree with that assessment. Again, these are the same constituents that a few years ago we said, please trust us when we raise your property tax with a special service area, right? I mean, our downtown business community and property owners have taken a lot of trust in the city for, agreeing to the special service area. It was controversial, as those of us that were here recall. And so I guess out of respect for that, when they bring to me concerns, I try to respond, because I appreciated their willingness to work with me and the city on creating the special service area and the downtown alliance now. So, pushing this off for another month does not look like responsiveness on part of the city. They're looking for action from the city.
Would it be appropriate to have some of them part of this discussion, since it does affect their businesses and their livelihood?
Well, again, I think the intention with the moratorium, whether there's a moratorium or not, the intention is to have these conversations. I mean, the proposal with the moratorium is not just close homeless shelters for 4 months and then nothing else, right? The whole point of this is, the equivalency is what we did with respect to vape shops, and I'm not trying to compare social service agencies with vape shops. I'm only just making a comparison in the process that we're undertaking, right? The concern from the public was that these entities are proliferating. And so the city created a 6-month moratorium and said, whoa, 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 we need to establish some regulations here. Let's create a moratorium to kind of just tap the brakes for a moment so that we can do our research, have the conversations. And then after that 6 months, the moratorium was lifted. We had regulations in place that made everybody comfortable with the business. So the same idea here is there are concerns from my constituents about the proliferation of these services. Tap the pause button for a few months so that we can have these conversations, figure out how we want to address anti-poverty work in the city, and then have something in place when the moratorium lifts. So these conversations are going to happen regardless of what happens here tonight. Again, I'm calling for an anti-poverty plan, similar to Dubuque's, and part of that conversation will be this subject. So I just want to make it clear that this isn't choosing between having those conversations and not. It is, do we want to tap the pause button for 4 months?
My question is with tapping the pause button when you already have entities that was already on the verge of opening, how do you tell them slow down?
I understand, and I apologized.
I just, because I wouldn't want to see nests closed down, because they offer very, well, from what I was told earlier, that they would be affected by it.
No, I don't think any existing, no existing facility, business is affected by it. This would just be for new. And I do understand Alderman Parker and your constituents' concern, because I don't think we want downtown Rock Island to be the hub of all the nonprofits in the community that are helping with the homeless. I don't think anybody wants that. And I think that's the concern with this, is because we need to have, because I don't think Rock Island is the only city that deals with this. There's other cities that deal with it, and it needs to be spread around. But I do understand the downtown businesses.
But putting this delay is not going to hurt us. I just don't see it hurting us. It gives the people that came tonight the chance to bring us more data or to meet with us so that we can make I guess, a learned decision.
Question, the non-for-profits that have already worked on opening their doors, what do we do with them in the midst of this moratorium or this delay?
They are delayed 1 month before they can open.
Your other option would be is if there's specific entities that you're wanting to allow to be opened during that moratorium, you could always make a motion to amend the moratorium to allow for that specific entity. That is another option that would be afforded to the council.
So then, to my understanding, with that amendment, we would have Third Place and we would have Allen's House. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I would make that motion.
So we actually, right now, pending is a motion to postpone to a date certain. That takes priority over primary amendment. So we would first have to vote on the motion to postpone to a date certain.
I just wanted to add that I was prepared to recuse, or apparently I can abstain and still discuss, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So I will abstain because of potential conflict of interest. I do have a lease agreement with one of the other agencies, and my husband and I do also have a building next to the Third Place. But I did want to say that I am against this moratorium. When I heard about it, I did send an email out to city manager and mayor regarding my, displeasure with the moratorium, because I believe we should be trying to do as much as possible, to help the homeless. And I mentioned I was, driving off of a 92 on to 11th Street and saw an encampment under the bridge. And I'm like, okay, if we do this, are we just driving more people under the bridges? Is that the type of city we want to be? So I understand Alderman Parker's, his ward and the complaints, but I think we do have to have a concern about the homelessness in our area that is continuing to grow. So again, I am against this moratorium. However, I will not be voting.
So are we at the amendment or are we at the table?
Nope, we're at the motion to postpone
Okay.
to the second meeting in August is the one that currently takes priority, and that would kill the primary amendment one as well until that August 25th date, if it votes to pass to postpone it to that date certain.
So would we rather would we rather postpone or amend?
So again, right now, we're at the motion to postpone. That's what needs to be voted on unless they withdraw that motion. So that's where we're at. The motion to postpone takes priority over the primary amendment. So we have to vote on that, or they have to withdraw that motion if they're wanting to move on to amendment.
So we could do the motion to postpone, and then at the second meeting in August, at that time, we could choose, depending on information that we have, to amend to allow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To reiterate, I don't plan on supporting the motion as stated. My constituents are looking for responsiveness, and I don't think delaying this does that.
Yeah.
So let me question Alderman Parker, so if it were to be amended as opposed, are you still opposed to that as well?
I think amending the motion to allow the organizations that are scheduled to open prior to the moratorium expiring defeats the purpose of the moratorium. And it's attempting to, save face with both sides. And I don't think you can do that. My constituents that are concerned about the proliferation of these entities want some sort of sign from the city that we're responsive and mindful of that, and that we're doing something, right? And again, like I said, trying to be as minimally invasive as possible because we all understand the importance of this. By exempting it, why do it anyway?
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson
So this is postponing.
to August 25th, correct?
Aye.
Parker,
No.
Poulos,
Yes.
Evans,
No.
sorry, Healy, go ahead.
Aye.
No.
Hurt,
Aye.
and Barnes.
She's
There's a difference. So you need to say abstain. Because I'm still calling.
Abstain.
Yes, that's the correct person. Okay. All right, motion carries. Now we need to vote on the original.
No, that was
We
an
don't.
amendment.
'Cause
That was
No,
a
we
table.
don't. It's a motion to postpone.
Yeah.
Readdress this on August 25th.
Report from the city clerk's office regarding a resolution adopting the full release and partial release of closed session minutes and the destruction of audio recordings for the same closed session minutes.
Move to approve the full release and partial release of closed session minutes as recommended and adopt the resolution.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Happy to see them fully released. Clerk?
Thank you.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item E.
Report from the Wetland Task Force regarding a resolution on the city's commitment to register the Southwest Rock Island Wetlands as a land and water reserve with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item 8.
A, report from the Community Development Department regarding amendments to Chapter 4 Building Regulations of the Municipal Code. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, real quick. Miles, can you touch on the two sections that someone mentioned at the public meeting? One was section 4.45 or 4-45 inspection access, and the other was
8A.
4.
Certainly. Is the representative from the Realtors Association still in the room? Hi. I'd love to speak with you at some point. But in regards to the first part, that is code language that's been in the code for, probably 20 or more years. This is the first time I've heard anyone express concerns about it, so I'd love to hear what those concerns are. But that language is not proposed to be changed in any particular way. As for the second section that was referenced regarding the abatement of rents, that section is one that I would invite the city attorney also to comment on as we worked closely to craft that. It is not the case that the city orders an abatement of rent, but in a situation where a rental license is revoked, it shall be considered unlawful for that landlord to offer the unit for rent. And so in that manner, there is an avenue for tenants to proceed under state statute to withhold rent. City Attorney, would you like to expand a little bit further on that?
Yes. So under common law, a defense to an eviction can say that the premise that they are residing in is inhabitable or in such a condition as that it's not safe to reside in. So typically in those situations, a defense to an eviction could state is that they don't have to pay rent in that situation because the conditions are so in disarray that's the defense to the eviction itself. What we're doing for this situation is we're not stating that tenants should abate their rent, right? We're saying that they're able to if there's no longer a license in place for that rental unit because they are legally not able to operate as a rental facility within the city of Rock Island. So they should not be paying rent in that situation. Now, obviously, each individual tenant is going to have to decide whether or not that's something that they want to do because the eviction proceedings can still take place. But it's just the city's way to basically state this is not a place that is suitable for human occupancy, at least based on our standards, and so it's not able to be licensed for as a rental property within the city.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item B.
Report from the Community Development Department regarding an amendment to the International Residential Code removing a requirement for fire sprinkler systems in 1- and 2-family houses. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance.
I have Alderperson Healy making the first motion.
I'll second it to open discussion.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
I would like to call Fire Chief up to the podium and make some clarifications before I make my second motion.
I'm asking the fire marshal to come up.
That would be good, yes. Thank you. And again, we've addressed this before. We've been through this for 6 years. We've been debating this. Could you tell us why it is important that we not change this, that we keep that sprinkler system? And I've heard so many different stories about, is it too expensive, is it not expensive, will developers not come here, will they come here? And quite frankly, I've heard comments on both sides saying that, no, it has no effect, and others saying it has a huge effect. I don't know, but I'm asking your opinion on these.
Well, I'll start. So our major concern with it is that the sprinkler system is incorporated into the code in order to help with the construction. The older construction with truer dimensional lumber, lath and plaster, the way the drywall is set up, the materials that were used in past generations, we were able to contain that much easier, and it was safer for the residents and ourselves going into a fire for extinguishment or rescue. With construction today, it's much thinner, it's pressed lumber, it burns much quicker. The reason the code is written the way that it is so that the sprinklers give more time to begin the extinguishment so that there's not as much burn, so that we can get in and finish that extinguishment or that rescue.
Okay, I've heard that there's an 82% better chance for survival in a structure that has a sprinkler system. Where's that data come from?
From the Sprinkler Coalition and from other websites too. State Farm also has it on their website, I believe also on their home safety page. The state with smoke detectors and a sprinkler system both together, you have an 82% chance of better survival than just smoke detectors alone, which is just 50%.
Further question is there, I've been told that that's extremely expensive because of an annual requirement that the sprinkler system be tested. Is that true or not true, or what's the situation?
Absolutely false on that one. A 13D system does not require a fire alarm system to be attached to it at all. There's no annual inspections. Matter of fact, the code says that the installer has to talk with the homeowner on how to maintain it and then how to fix issues and who to call on this. There's nothing that says that they have to call anybody else to fix this or any annual maintenance on this at all. So it's not true.
I'm sorry, was there a not true somewhere? Oh, okay. I didn't know where. Oh, okay. Well, and maybe we need to postpone this so we can get more information on that as well. Postpone the vote on this.
Well, I have some questions though.
Are you making that motion officially, or?
I will release the floor to my colleague from the second ward.
So we've had discussions on this. There was a lot of debate over cost. I know you had in an email, I believe it was $1.38 square foot. I contacted Ahern, and they were somewhere between $3 to $5 a square foot. So I have concern over the cost of that. As we had spoken, Alderperson Evans was present. We talked about even the West End, people that want to put homes in there. I mean, they don't want to pay $4 for a recycle can, but we're expecting them to pay X amount of dollars for a fire sprinkler system. Now, and just to clarify, and we had this conversation as well, if I were to do a home remodel with say I wanted to do an addition, and isn't it true that there's no requirement for a fire sprinkler system there, correct?
It leaves it up to the AHJ.
Leaves up to who?
Which is authority having jurisdiction. And any kind of local amendments that we have as of right now, if a remodel comes in, I do not believe that there has to be a sprinkler system put in, only new construction in the city for now.
Okay, so my problem with that is if I put on a large room addition, and as you state, and I have no doubt that you're correct, that these are very flammable materials, they're not made very well, doesn't that now put the rest of your structure at risk? And why would there not be something stating that it has to have a fire sprinkler? It almost seems contradictory to what we're saying. If you're saying it burns quick, well, why would we then not make them do a fire sprinkler on any kind of a larger home addition?
I mean, I guess we can add that in. So.
No, I'm just asking why that isn't. So I
understand. We're not the code writers. We're the
no, and I get it.
Code enforcers.
And I get it. So the problem that, and I'm not doubting, and of course, I mean, it only makes sense that, you're going to save properties. There's, potential to save lives, whatever the case may be. I do think, however, we are the only city in the Quad Cities that has this. And I think, and of course, I'll direct my next question to Miles. He could probably give me a little bit more insight on. And I believe the number that came up currently is we're only getting, 2 new home constructions a year in Rock Island. Would that be accurate?
I'm sorry, could you restate that? I didn't quite catch it.
Approximate new home constructions does City of Rock Island, how many have we had on an average in the last few years? Estimated.
Very few. There have been none this year. I don't believe there were any last year.
Wow.
4 units, I think, completed. If you look back the last 5 or 6 years, with the exception of a blip from the construction of Lincoln residences, which is, of course, a larger number of units, we're not seeing very many developed in a given year. I would say that the reasons for that could be various. We don't necessarily have the strongest market. The pandemic may have also played a role, so it is difficult to interpret those numbers and what they may or may not mean.
No, completely understand. I'm just bringing the point of, I see, it's, and us as a council, we have to, kind of weigh in, what, we're looking for a residential development in our city to, improve our tax base, and you're looking, and again, nothing, I agree with that as well, that it does provide a benefit, right? However, the cost, and like we had spoke before, I wish there would, and I don't know, maybe, like I said, maybe get the chiefs in the state. Is there something together to give us grants to that would help those, but there's currently not, from my understanding. But I don't know why this hasn't been addressed. Let me kind of an off the cuff thing here. Do we have any current firefighters that have done new construction homes in the last 10 years or so?
Yes.
And do they have fire sprinkler systems in their homes?
I cannot answer that question.
Okay. Anyway, that's all I have for questions.
So on the memo, it states that the requirement has been in the IRC since 2009, but many communities have chosen to remove it at the local level, including Davenport, Bettendorf, and Moline. Rock Island County has taken a different approach and kept the sprinkler requirement in place with the addition of following exemptions. So the exemption says that the sprinkler system is not required, when floor assemblies, which are not otherwise required, blah, blah, blah. So I guess my question is, so is Rock Island County requiring the sprinkler or not requiring the sprinkler system?
So I can answer that in tandem with my fire department colleagues. Basically, in the county, you have a choice. You can install the fire sprinkler system in your 1 or 2 family house, as would be typical, or you can approach the method of construction differently, and I'm simplifying dramatically here, to make it burn slower, okay? Modern construction, the pressed lumber that was being described, it's a lot of plastic, it's a lot of glue that's holding everything together. What they're describing basically is you can put in the sprinkler system, if that's how you want to build it, or you can build your home with dimensional lumber, so actual cut pieces of wood, not glued together wood fiber, and add additional covers. So if you picture your basement and you see the beams going across, you drywall those, you increase their fire resistance, in other words, their burn time, and in that way you can qualify for the exemption from that requirement for sprinklers. I say it in that kind of loose way just so that the public can kind of picture what you're looking at, but in effect what you're trying to do is build a structure that burns more slowly, more like, as the chief was describing, older methods of construction allow. That change in materiality is what has made the International Code Council put in that requirement since 2009 as the default for the code.
I guess I would say that I am in agreement with removing the sprinkler systems, but I would be, open to maybe doing as the county does and having that option. So.
I will, I don't have any question for the fire department. Can they sit down? Okay.
Well, just the final thing is, it's not just the life safety. It's, Alderman Parker's talked about all the homes that have burned down.
You took my thunder.
Those are not being rebuilt. Our concern also is to provide that protection, minimize the damage, and allow a rebuild also. So it's a multifaceted answer for having these sprinklers.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Fire Marshal.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. When you talk about preventatives, fire extinguishers, the blankets, smoke detectors, those actually also help to try to downplay that from actually igniting to that level, correct?
Well, just remember that smoke detectors just tell you that there is a problem.
Right.
And that doesn't take into consideration the elderly, the disabled, and children who can't get out. So the sprinkler systems help take care of the problem for us alone. That's why you got a 50% survival rate with just smoke detectors and up to 82% with both of them together.
And we did have the big issue with the carbon monoxide. We went through the system of everybody needing carbon monoxide things in their houses. Now all of a sudden everybody's throwing them away. It's what do you do? And like my colleague was talking about as far as in the first ward, the expenses that it's going to cost to refix those properties down there to bring them back on the market. From what I'm hearing from my constituents, it's just not acceptable at this time. So I'm kind of like Alderman Barnes, really prefer to just table this until it becomes a better time.
And I will say, my viewpoint on it is I totally appreciate everything the fire department does. I totally appreciate you guys put your lives on the line every single time you go out to a fire. I really struggle with this because on the one hand, it does save lives, our firefighters' lives, the lives of the families. I also understand in Rock Island, I think we've had 2 new houses a year that have been built. I know that Habitat for Humanity is not building homes in Rock Island because of this. I think housing, as we've all heard, is a huge issue with getting homes built. And I still don't know how I'm going to vote on it because I really do struggle with, I see both sides of it. But I do feel that it is a financial burden for people building new homes. I checked with my insurance carrier, and you only get a 5% discount on your homeowner's insurance if you put in a whole house sprinkler, and that means there's a sprinkler head in every single room. If you skip a room, there is no discount. So,
can I make a motion to table this indefinitely?
To postpone?
You can do both.
Well,
Are you wanting to table it indefinitely?
Yes.
Okay, so a motion to table.
well, with that, the ordinance will still be in effect then, correct?
Effectively, making a motion to table is choosing to keep the sprinkler requirements in the code.
I want to remove them from the code completely.
Okay.
Don't table this then.
I'm with that.
Then do you withdraw your motion to table?
Withdraw.
I respect the input from the real estate community. We've received a lot of emails on this. I respect our colleagues at the Chamber of Commerce. I know you've advocated on this. Like many things tonight, reasonable people disagree sometimes, and this is one where we disagree. We're making value judgments, and I sympathize with the argument of property rights and making, letting residents choose what they want to have in their houses, but that's not the approach that we take with respect to vehicles and seatbelts. We understand that requiring manufacturers to put seatbelts in their cars saves lives. We don't leave that up to the consumer to choose when they buy a new Ford, whether it comes with a seatbelt or not. And ultimately, this saves lives. And again, thank you, Chief, for taking my thunder, but I lived at the corner of 9th Avenue and 22nd Street for 10 years. In the 10 years that I lived there, I saw 6 houses burned to the ground within a square block of my home. One of them containing a neighbor of mine who did not make it out of that fire. And had the technology existed and the city council 125 years ago, when my neighborhood was built, existed, he would still be alive. And so I make the value judgment that this is important enough to require in our building code, so I will not be voting in the affirmative for the amendment.
Does everyone know where we are?
So we are voting on the motion to consider the ordinance to
remove.
First reading, yes.
Okay, okay.
So I have a first and a second.
Any more discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
No.
Pulis.
No.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C,
Report from the Community Development Department regarding the establishment of an urban agriculture ordinance. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance?
there's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Miles, didn't we have something in place for adjacent resident, or is this something totally separate? Is that, remember you talked
Oh, that's
about
that's a separate
for the first right of
case.
refusal?
Yep, that'll be handled as part of the property sale process that we're still kind of drafting for council review. So that is a separate issue. It's not part of this
Just want to
ordinance.
clarify. Thank you.
Yep.
Any more discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item D,
Report from the Economic Development Department regarding removal of parcels from the Parkway I-280 Tax Increment Financing or TIF District as amended. First reading.
Motion to approve the removal of parcels and consider the ordinance.
Second.
it's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Move to amend the motion to suspend our rules, consider the ordinance, and pass it.
Second. My fault.
Okay. There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Who's the
Clerk.
second? I couldn't hear. Mark was the second. Okay.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so now we have the first and the second on the motion, so now we need to vote on that.
Yeah.
Okay? Alderperson Swanson.
So we voted on the amendment to do it right away.
Yeah, so you voted on suspending the rules.
So you can withdraw your motions, or we can
Just vote on the regular
red motion.
The amendment already passed. This is now voting on the amended motion
Yeah.
to
Yes.
remove the parcels, consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
Yeah.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item E,
Report from the Traffic Engineering Committee regarding a request from Kim Romano to remove the handicap parking space at 3752 12th Street, first reading.
Motion to approve the request and consider the ordinance.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item 8F has been removed from the agenda. Item 9,
Consent agenda items A through E.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through E.
I have a first from,
Second.
okay, Evans.
there's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item 10,
A report from the Public Works Department regarding payment number 1 to Somerset Marine Construction, Whitewater, Wisconsin, for the Sunset Marina dock replacement project in the amount of $402,121.80, using ARPA funds unrestricted. Report from the Public Works Department requesting an authorization to purchase a Marina lift station pump from Electric Pump of Des Moines, Iowa, in the amount of $10,870, using ARPA funds unrestricted. And C, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to IMEG of Rock Island, Illinois, for the Sunset Marina electrical upgrades project in the amount of $15,760, using ARPA funds unrestricted.
Motion to allow claims A through C.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Move to amend the motion to remove Claim A from consideration.
So those funds were allocated already and approved through ARPA funds.
Somebody second it, please, so I can discuss.
Second.
There's a first and,
I just got to recuse myself, so just vote on B and C separately from A, please.
oh, sure. So is there any discussion?
Wait.
So let's take A first. So I'm going to call the roll for A first, and Alderperson Parker. Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Now we have B and C. Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item D,
Report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to Crawford Company, Rock Island, Illinois, for the Sunset Marina electrical upgrades project in the amount of $10,854, using ARPA funds unrestricted.
Motion to allow the claim.
Second.
we have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Okay. Where are we at, B?
11A.
11A,
Report from the Fire Department regarding the Quad City Regional Incident Management Assistance Team Agreement.
Move to approve the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
there's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item B,
Report from the Police Department regarding a one-year agreement and reciprocal reporting agreement with the Rock Island Milan School District Number 41 to provide a police department school resource officer at Rock Island High School.
Motion to approve the document subject to minor attorney modifications and authorize the city manager and staff to execute the documents.
first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
11C,
Report from the Public Works Department regarding an open-ended lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management for approximately 2025 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor vehicles.
Move to approve the negotiation of an open-ended lease agreement.
Second.
There's a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item D.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding the Franciscan Storage Treatment Water Line Replacement Project, recommending the bid be awarded to McClintock Trucking and Excavating of Silvis, Illinois, in the amount of $47,660.
Motion to award the bid and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
It's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker. I'm sorry, Poulos. Getting old.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Swanson. I'm sorry if I didn't. Yes.
Aye. Barnes.
Yes. I'm sorry, it's getting.
Item E.
Keep you on your toes.
Item E.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding an amendment to the site license agreement with AT&T for the 1405 36th Street Water Tower.
Motion to approve the amendment and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye. Sorry.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item 12A.
Report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the General Fund 100 in the amount of $35,000.
Move to approve the budget adjustment.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item 13A.
Report from the Community Development Department regarding a fence variance request from Illinois Casualty Company for property at 225 20th Street.
Move to approve the variance for the fence height.
Second.
First and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
13B.
Report for the Community Development Department regarding a sign variance request from Quad City Botanical Center for property at 2525 4th Avenue.
Move to approve the sign variance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
And Barnes.
Aye.
Item 14. Is there any business to discuss, or does anyone have any new business?
I'm just curious. I know I've sat back for the last couple of weeks. We've got 3 new chaplains that have came on board, and I've been trying to figure out how to move them into functioning with the city council as far as doing the invocation after the pledge. What do I have to do to get that on the agenda?
Would that be you, Leslie?
I would say Alderperson Evans, and sorry, I don't know. As one alderperson, as your colleague, I would say having a majority of us on city council supporting that idea, we could just communicate that to the city manager and the mayor, and it would be so. I will say respectfully, I strongly oppose that. When I was first elected to the city council in 2017, we began city council meetings with an invocation, and I worked with my colleagues on then the city council to stop the practice. Specifically, as a secular elected official and respecting the separation of church and state, I did not feel comfortable having a prayer beginning the city council meeting. And I understand that people disagree on that, and that's fine. But for what it's worth, I would strongly oppose returning to that practice.
And I appreciate that, but also being from that other side, I do think that it also helps to set a precedence. Even like I was fortunate today to be at the swearing in for the officers, and that was also part of the opening of that I would strongly agree that we need to work back toward that. I used to actually, in the previous council, I actually have sat before you and actually have done that invocation. So it's just something that I strongly am in favor of.
And I would agree with Alderman Parker. I think there's a separation of church and state, and if we were to do that, I'm curious as to what religion that prayer would be a part of.
So I have done research into this issue. You are allowed to begin council meetings with a prayer, but they strongly recommend that you allow for representation for all faiths and all denominations. So that would restrict just using the chaplains, I believe. So there's things that you can do to allow it, but again, you can't boost up any one religion. So it does put the city in a difficult position, what that would entail, whether that would also include, other issues might pop up. But yes, that's something, if you're wanting to get something on the agenda and to vote on it, you're always free to get other council members in favor of that, and you're able to put that item on the agenda. The mayor is also able to put anything on the agenda.
Thank you. And also, just to add, due to those three chaplains are all from three different faiths, so it's not one particular faith. And so I have been asking this since before they got on, is why I had to bring it to this.
Yeah, you still have to make sure that it's opened up to all faiths, though, not just the three.
And that's fine.
Any more new business, old business? Item 15.
Closed session 5 ILCS 122, C11 litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding must be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
Move to enter into closed session for exception cited.
First and second, all in favor? Aye. Closed session.
Okay, we are now in closed session. So everybody knows that.